Everybody being here, excited for game week to finally be here, and it's been a really good transition process. Seeing the growth within a team coming together. Grateful for all the work our coaches, support staff. I mean every department that they poured in to the young men that we get to coach, and really grateful for the players and the investment they've made, not just what they're doing on the field, but the growth and the continued buy into how to do it, and the relationships that are growing throughout this journey. And we've got a great group of young men. I think you see the experience that this team has, and guys that have played a lot of football, and some guys in different roles, some guys obviously at a different place, but really looking forward to this 2025 Florida State football team, and all that I believe that they can accomplish. And what better way to kick it off than you'll hear at Doak Campbell Stadium, sold out crowd. It's going to be an incredible atmosphere, and to be able to do it here against a quality opponent, top 10 ranked team. A lot of excitement around our program. So looking forward to a big week of preparation. I like the things that the guys have done up to this point. As we have got a jump start on Alabama, and now it's just it's about continuing to grow and improve throughout this week, so we can go play at our best level come 3:45 on Saturday.
First question will be Brendan over here on your left.
As you've gone through camp and preseason, all the good stuff, do you have a sense for what this team is? What do you know, I guess, about this team personality-wise, and even schematically, where do you think you guys can call upon this year?
Yeah, I've been really pleased with the competitiveness of this team, and all situations that we've tried to throw at them. It's easy to say offense, defense, but special teams work, everything that they're doing. Growing in our situational awareness. Trying to see guys that take ownership in what they're being asked to do on a specific play, whether it's coverage, run scheme, obviously technique or fundamental that they have to use, but really more the mentality about how they go into to executing that. And I really have liked the fight that I've seen in this team throughout our preseason workouts, and really since I got here in the off season, stemming all the way back from January. And I think that's going to be a great characteristic that's needed, and something that we were looking for. And obviously come Saturday, we're going to get to see them do that against another opponent. And I do think this is a team that has a lot of versatile playmakers. When you look on both sides of the ball, guys that can align in different places, with what they're being asked to do. And I'm excited to see all of it come together, with the different combinations, but also the 11 guys that take the field to go get the job done.
Chris?
Chase Lofton listed as a wide receiver. I know you guys have talked about his ability to flex out. Can you kind of paint the picture of how he can be used? Yeah,
Chase is somebody that we're really excited about, and just from coming in the spring to what he was able to show, seeing how that's been able to transition. He's a very natural route runner. He's got great explosiveness, ball skills. He's a guy that really has earned opportunity. And I love our tight end room with the guys that we have there. And I think that Chase being able to put himself in this position is a testament to his work and ability. And I'm really fired up to see what he's going to be able to do throughout the course of this season, and starting here Saturday.
All right.
We saw the video you guys put out of Tommy breaking the lock at the end of camp. You knew what a playmaker he was coming in. I know you knew him personally from recruiting as well, but has he exceeded any expectations? Has he been exactly what you guys wanted since he came in?
Yeah, I mean, he's we had very high expectations when he joined the program of what he what he would bring, and it's easy to see the athleticism, the skill, the games that he's played, the impact that he can make. But what I've been just very proud of him for just the investment in others, the investment into the program. He brings a great spirit, into this building, and whether it's how he greets people walking in the door, whether it's the Extra Point Club ladies that are sitting at the front, to how he interacts with managers, trainers, his teammates, the competitiveness that he brings, the challenge that he presents, and just seeing when he steps on the field, guys striving to be better, and you need that from that position. And he's definitely provided a great spark for this team, and I think guys have rallied with him in this off season, and definitely excited to play for him. And I think that Tommy's earned that throughout this time here at Florida State, and I was really pleased to see that to see him break the rock, but it was pretty easy decision just watching the way that he comes to work every day, and what this teammates mean to him.
Liam?
Jalen Boggs gets the starting receiver role. I know you've talked a lot about him throughout the offseason, but what was it that truly separated him to kind of get that role so quickly?
Well, I think he's been extremely productive. He is, from the spring to fall camp, you saw growth. He is definitely great, got a wonderful skill set, but when he's got his opportunities, he's capitalized on them, and he still has a lot of growth in front of him, but he's put himself in this position, and I think he's earned the opportunity, and so most freshmen that come in, they all want to play, and they'll say it, they'll sound good, some of them have the ability and talent, but it's just also carries over into the mindset, carries over into making sure that you know what to do, how to do it, and then the consistency of being where you need to be, and being able to execute when your number's called. And so I think Javen's done a really nice job of putting himself in that position, and I'm excited to see him go compete on game day.
Come back to Brendan.
Two players who weren't listed on the depth chart, maybe we're expecting Lane McCoy and Kevin Wynn, are those injury related, and they health-wise going into Alabama? How are you guys doing?
Yeah, those will be two guys that'll be out this week, they're expecting a relatively quick return, but those are two guys that will not be available.
I'll go back to Liam.
One guy who did come back from injury later in the fall was Jason Jenkins, and he gets a start. In that short amount of time that you were able to see him out there, what was it that kind of stuck out so he could get that starting job?
Yeah, he's a violent player, and he is. You feel his presence. We knew that whenever he was coming in. Unfortunately, it was delayed in person. Just with the injury there in the spring, and having to kind of work through his rehab process. But he attacked every day, and I've used him as an example. I think I mentioned him and Jacob Rizzi, both guys that that had spring injuries that really had to bust their tails to get back to have an opportunity in this game. And both of them came back before but was initially thought would be the return date, and for them to both get live work in that second scrimmage, and to see them to go out there and function, and really even in these last couple of weeks just be able to grow throughout you're knocking some of the rust off, and just the technique, the fundamentals, the communication, playing faster. I think both of those guys have done a really impressive job in the things that controlling the things that they could control in putting themselves in a position. But I think Jason is he's a guy I'm really looking forward to seeing out there on the field, and he brings a physicality and an explosiveness that's absolutely needed, and plays with an incredible motor.
Brendan?
When we spoke to you in the final week of camp, you mentioned the safety position, maybe it's boundary safety, one of the safety spots being one you were looking forward to. It looks like Ashton Barker was listed. I guess, how did that shake out to you? What did he do to kind of distinguish himself?
Yeah, Ashton's, I think he's taken some tremendous strides, and he was a guy that when he came here, was kind of limited just on overall experience, and dealt with injury in high school. Went to junior college, was able to come in and really was learning on the run, and you see that you've seen his growth. You saw some plays last year that showed up in special teams, a little bit defensively, but I think he's playing with a lot of confidence. He's got great size. You can run. You definitely a physical presence. You see him. I think KJ Kirkland's continued to emerge. You can see him. A good amount there. You'll hear this weekend as well. A guy that can play multiple positions. But it's a competitive group, and it's I think it's a testament to the consistency of what Ashland's done. But it's also we got guys there that we're very confident can play at a high level.
Corey?
With Randy Pittman, how good is he? How good can he be? And is he better than maybe you thought he was when he got here?
I think Randy. I mean, he's an absolute playmaker. I mean, he can do so many different things. In whether it's alignment, whether it's out wide, in the core. He's done. He's got a tremendous versatility of skills. I think that he's absolutely grown even in his time here. Just you've seen him, applying techniques, fundamentals, allowing him to maximize, his size, his strength. A very powerful human being. Reminds me a lot, just from the strength and power of, really kind of what we saw with Jaheim Bell. Where he's not the biggest guy in the world, but he definitely can. He plays the right mentality, can create space. When you look at him on the perimeter, he's got great ball skills. A guy that he knows his game. He knows his game really well, and I think he puts himself in a great position to be able to impact the game because of that versatility. And so I think when you look at that tight end room, it's probably one of the best positions that we have, just with the versatility of skills. Randy, Amari, Landon, it was great to get him back these last couple of weeks, and he was out for the first part of a fall camp. Seeing Mark Houston and just what he can do. I mean, you got, which allowed us the flexibility with Chase. It was talked about earlier, just to be able to kind of transition him out to kind of solely focusing on receiver because of that room. And so I think those guys have done a great job, and Randy's definitely a leader within it.
All right.
When we talked to Coach Hand last week, he mentioned that some possible starters at some positions might also be top backups at other positions, always trying to get your best 5 available on the field. Is that something where you guys actually map out all the contingencies, or is it just case by case?
No, we've got a really good plan of, if this happens, this would be the move. If that happens, this would be the adjustment that kind of coincides with it. So I mean, we've got. I've been pleased with that offensive line group, and I've been pleased with the competition. There's still competition. I mean, we have a week of preparation here in front of us, and it still comes down to production. And I've said that to every position, what guys have done up to this point. I mean, it's wonderful, and we can sit here and talk and you'll feel good about any statements that are made. But when you step on the field, what's getting done, and that's a program wide, and that's the expectation, that you got to go perform, and you got to continue to grow. And when you're on the field, is everybody else around you better because of you? And so that is the challenge that's issued to all positions. And I think our O-line has really embraced that. And when you see guys that have versatility in positions that can be played, guys that have grown and developed through that process, and I think it's a very competitive group.
Come back for Chris.
After watching Tony's group throughout the spring and now the preseason, how intrigued are you to see him against a different opponent, especially somebody as talented and physical as Alabama? Yeah,
I mean, it's going to be a great challenge. You look at Alabama, what they do offensively. They've got a very experienced offensive line, big, strong, powerful. You look at how they utilize the tight end position and creating different surfaces, movements. All the window dressing to really be able to play downhill, and then they're going to push the ball vertically down the field. I think it's probably one of the best receiving corps in the country. Some very talented players that will align all over the place. So you've got to be locked in on matchups. You got to be locked in on leverages, understanding what's your job, what's your task, and what you're trying to take away, and you got to be aggressive. I mean, this is a team that if you don't bring it every snap, I mean, they absolutely will expose you. And so, you know, I'm really looking forward to our defense. You've seen them, you know, be able to transition from all the things we've worked in practice, and you know, for that to carry over into the game. And you know, it's both sides. You got two new coordinators on the offensive defense side of the ball, and you know, it's I think they've done a great job of working together, you know, as they've competed against each other, you know, in fall camp, and you know, now as we transition kind of or into game week, and you know, the preparation that's been you know, invested, and to be able to challenge each other, try to you know, expose areas you know, against each other, that you know, I think has made us better through the process and through that competition. So you know, I'm really looking forward to both sides of the ball getting to go and show it on game day.
Corey?
Quick twofer, if I may.
2 for 1.
But
We're
first
sitting
off-
next to Ira, so it works.
Yeah, I know, I'm thinking from is, how is Squirrel White doing physically?
Yeah, you know, a full expectation for Squirrel to play. You know, he was able to practice last couple of days. You know, really pleased with him. You know, in just his process. You know, he came off you know, the second scrimmage. You know, had a great outing. You know, scored the long touchdown. You feel his confidence, and he took that over into, you know, when he wasn't able to be on the field last week, as he was you kind of recovering from, you know, from a minor injury. I mean, it was still, I mean, his attack was there, and you know, I think he's done a great job. You know, he's a veteran receiver. He's a guy that's, you know, that's performed at a very high level. So we're glad to have him back in the fold, and you know, looking forward to this week.
And with Tommy, how good has he been as a football player for you this last month? Because what Florida State fans remember is obviously 2023, and then last year he played here. Has he looked like that guy to you for the most part? How good can he be running?
I think Tommy's playing as good as he's been, and you know, that is the expectation. And as he's come in, you know, there's the ownership of all actions of what he's doing, you know, with his arm, what he does with his legs. You know, I think, you know, even the continued growth in protections, and you know, being able to you know, help position, you know, get us in, you know, the best plays. I think he's done a wonderful job with that. You know, working with Coach Malzahn, Coach Tokars, I think those guys have been great for him, and you know, he's, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing him be able to transition all of that work to the field on Saturday against, you know, one of the top defenses that probably in the country. But you know, he's prepared for his moment, and you know, he's better than what I've seen him.
All right.
Looking at the depth chart, you've got some, you know, AJ and Donnie, former walk-ons on the 2 deep. You've got freshmen on the 2 deep. You got some younger guys that have jumped over former starters or older guys. What does that say about the competition of the camp? And then also, do you think have you seen positive results of that, just of the competition being so wide open?
Yeah, you know, I mean, you're not given anything. You got to go earn it. You got to go, you know, put yourself in that position. You know, every player on the team desires to be a starter. Everybody desires to get you know, a chance to go play, and you know, you've got to bring that mentality to all things that you're doing, and then when the moment's there for you, whether it's in practice, you know, scrimmages, and all the things, and now as we carry into games, you know, you got to produce. And so it is, you know, I think when you see some of those guys that have come in, you know, and had their own unique path, I think, you know, Donnie and AJ both have been extremely productive, and you know, for them, their first path to production was in special teams, you know, here, and then you've seen them grow within their positions, you know, and being able to put themselves you know, in a place to where they get to go out there and help us win football games. And so and then, you know, as you look at, you know, freshmen that have come in, I think we really did a great job of you know, with the evaluation of guys that would have a chance to come in and impact early. And you know, I think you'll probably the midpoint of the season, you'll probably see, you know, pushing to, you know, double-digit guys that are in that freshman class that'll have a chance to help this football team. So you know, excited for that group as well.
Anything else? All right. Thank you, Coach.
See you guys.